Hi, welcome to my studio. Today we're diving into one of the most cheerful parts of the watercolor palette, yellows, and I'll be sharing my thoughts on 5 yellows in my Maimeri Blu watercolor collection. For this swatching session, I'm using regular cellulose paper, and the brush I'm using is a round 8 Da Vinci Cosmo Top Spin. I like this brush because its bristles are quite stiff, which makes it easier to pick up the pigment from the well. I'm starting with Permanent Yellow Lemon, pigment PY175. This one used to be my go-to yellow. It's clean, transparent, and it mixes very well with all kinds of pigments. It stays luminous in light washes, and it's perfect for glazing too. I haven't been using this one much recently because it's just a touch too cool. Now I switched to a normal primary yellow, so I'm missing out on that cool, very bright yellow hue. Let's say I'm prioritizing convenience over having the full range of colors on my palette, and that's fine too. It mixes beautifully with ultramarine, phthalo blue, so it gives you very fresh greens, or even viridian for water scenes, for example. And also I like it with cool reds. These two together will make very subtle oranges. Next one up, Naples Yellow PY53. It's semi-opaque, it mixes easily and stays on the pastel side of things. I like this one for painting skin tones, florals, anything that I want to keep soft. And speaking of skin tones, if you mix it with burnt sienna, it gives you a very realistic look right away. And one thing is that I wouldn't use this one for glazing simply because it's semi-opaque and it blocks the light from shining through. Golden Yellow PY183. It's transparent and not staining. This is the classic sunflower yellow. It leans towards the orange side, but it's still very much into the yellow range. This is another color that I would use for skin tones in an underpainting perhaps, because it's a color that just makes the skin glow. If you try to mix this color with any quinacridone red, you'll get a very fiery orange, which is one of my favorite mixes for painting florals. Yeah, I like this yellow very much, I have to say. Transparent Yellow PY150. This one's transparent and staining. Because its staining is one of the most powerful yellows, it tends to take over the mix really quickly, so if you have it, you may want to be a tiny bit careful. I use this one a lot when I paint still life like bread, croissants, everything that has that golden tone to it. And as you can see, in its mass tone, it's slightly brownish. That makes it one of the yellows that can get a little deeper. So you're going to be getting darker hues out of this yellow without reaching for colors like burnt sienna, burnt umber, and other earthy pigments. In fact, this transparent yellow is even so slightly muted. This is one of the best pigments for glazing because of its transparency, and if you don't know exactly what glazing means, it's basically applying a wash over a painting, so it's almost like looking through a yellow window in this case. Now we're moving into a more organic kind of yellow, Yellow Ochre PY42. This one is opaque and not staining. As a beginner, I used to think that everything that had that yellow tone to it, I should have used yellow to paint it. But actually, what I was seeing was yellow ochre, because that's the more realistic, organic kind of yellow. The sooner you'll come to this realization, the faster your paintings will improve. This one is very similar to raw sienna, and I use them interchangeably. The only difference, I would say, yellow ochre is a little brighter, which makes it slightly better for landscapes, florals. On the other hand, raw sienna, it's more transparent, and I use it more for skin tones. Together with burnt sienna, yellow ochre is one of my used mixers, and 80% of the time, whenever I use a yellow, I would add a touch of yellow ochre. It just makes sense to me. This is real life yellow, so I want the eye to feel like the painting looks real, organic, rather than artificial and hypersaturated. What do you think? So these are my 5 Maimeri Blu yellows. They're all gorgeous. And the question now is, do you really need all the yellows on your watercolor palette? Short answer is no. And honestly, having too many yellows usually makes things harder, not better. And yes, it's fun to shop for pigments. I've been there too. But you really only need 3 yellows on your palette. That's what I believe. And this is what I recommend you based on my own experience. I will go for a split primary. which means a primary yellow and a warm yellow, almost like orange. So for the primary yellow, I would choose something like lemon yellow or something that's a touch warmer. Also, you want it to be transparent, so you can get clean mixes out of it. Then choose an orange leaning yellow, like Indian yellow or warm golden yellow. This gives you a split primary and helps with sunset, warm light, and rich oranges without cluttering your palette. And for the third yellow, I would recommend the yellow ochre or raw sienna. Something earthy to give you instant warmth, natural skin tones, and quieter mixes that don't scream for attention. And that's it for most situations. These three colors together cover range without redundancy. And trust me when I say that anything beyond these usually overlaps. They look different in the pan, but on the paper they solve the same problems and just add decision fatigue. With these three, you can mix nearly every yellow you need, from sharp light to soft earth to glowing warmth. And there are a few yellows I can very comfortably go without on my watercolor palette. And the first one is Naples yellow. And don't get me wrong, I find it a very pretty color, but I feel like I can definitely mix this color by mixing some primary yellow with a touch of yellow ochre, and I would still be on the more transparent side of things, which is always nice if you're layering colors to have that extra flexibility. Another color I could go without is transparent yellow, just because it's so strong in chroma. It's kind of hard to mix it, and like I said, I use it for glazing, but I don't glaze that often, so yeah, you really need to know how to tame this one. And lastly, I want to say that I also tend to be cautious with yellows that are made from more than one pigment. They are fine to use, but they can behave a bit unpredictably in mixes and muddy faster. I generally have single pigment yellows, and all pigments on my palette are basically single pigments, and these give you more control and cleaner results. These are all my thoughts on the yellows. This is just my personal preference. I find that I can paint more clearly and confidently without relying on all these many pigments. Just 3 for me will do. I hope you found this video helpful, and hopefully it will help you make more informed decisions when you buy new paints. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye!